All right. So today we have a Diamond 5 Reinhardt, Ram, and Doomfist. Now, if you want to coach it yourself, feel free to join the Discord as well as make sure to like and subscribe. So we're starting off with Reinhardt. Like the mythic weapon. Enjoy it. All right. Now, that was a nice kill, but unfortunately, the rest of your team did die right there. And on top of that, if that was a fairly good Kiriko right there, Kirky or the Kiryu probably would have just TP'd, but instead kind of just kept walking back and let you kill her. So, good thing to pay attention to is if it's Kiriko, probably not the best idea to like try to solo the player out, even though the player did play that really badly and didn't even TP when they could have TP'd. Once again, it was a really good kill, but if you were a slightly better Kiri, probably would have gotten out of that situation that they put themselves in, as well as pushing that kind of allowed the enemy team to just full on rush you. But regardless, I don't really know if there's anything that you could have even done, because I think your team would have gotten rushed regardless of you being there or not being there, and you probably still would have lost the fight. Not really a whole lot you could have done there. You could have possibly positioned yourself, maybe even up here, hold shield a little bit, wait until they drop, and then you kind of drop right down on them right over here, kind of force them out a little bit like that, so you can kind of peel as well on the high ground, because I think the Genji got a kill like straight off from the bat on the high ground. You could also play like right over here, maybe see if you can get some ult charge, maybe see if you can get some damage, and then kind of just try to rotate back right over into this corner right here, and then just have a brawl out on point. Right now, though, best bet, reset. Perfect. Exactly what you want to do is what you did right there. All right, we're going to speed up right here. I do like how much you're using your fighter strikes. I like actually really like how much you're using it, but you're using it at the wrong targets. So, for example, you're using it a lot on the Genji, and he's just gonna deflect that right back at the enemy team. See, oh, for a second I thought it might kill your Mercy right there. Fortunately, it did not. But yeah, your main target should, sorry about that, should probably be, I like hitting the enemy Reinhardt, maybe seeing if I could line up another player behind the enemy Reinhardt, something like that, to see how much ult charge you can get. If you think that you're going to be able to get a kill on somebody or anything like that, just fire strike at them if they're already low. But mainly just try to target the Reinhardt with your fire strike, so you can get in that ult charge, so you can beat him in ult charge, because he's beating you in ult charge tremendously. Nice pin. Beautiful. Nice fire strike. Unfortunate res. Oh no. So Genji ended up making a play right there. Unfortunate. Unfortunately, they managed to get a res off as well, which really does suck. But you do have Curie ult as well as your ult coming up. But they do have Bob and Genji ult, but I say there's a good chance that you guys could probably win this still.
Hi. What's up?
Right here, though, you should be kind of trying to ult track, figure out who probably has ult and who doesn't have ult. So my assumption this game would probably be, assuming that their carry has ult, I would assume that they probably had, their Genji would probably have ult and their Ashe would probably have ult. Other than that, though, even though I would be wrong on the Kiri, I would be ready for it at least. Unfortunately, you got the Kiri one tap. Huge. Nice pin. Unfortunately, he got the res off. Finish off right there. Very well played. Very, very well played. You managed to get a pick on both sports right there. Very well played. That's exactly what you should have done there. I mean, that was just perfect. Unfortunately, the Rein got rezzed, which could have possibly changed the fight around, but you getting both picks right there on the sports changed the fight around again. So, in like kind of, I don't know, you kind of just fixed everything that you're supposed to do right there. So, or fixed everything that could have gone wrong right there by making a play like that. Massive play. Nice fire strikes. Nice fire strike again. So something that you can pay attention to right now, though, is if you haven't picked up already, this Curie is really bad. You could take advantage of this Curie massively. For a player like in the rank that you're in right now, in the match rating being in silver, like I can instantly tell that this player is the silver player, and the Genji on the enemy team was definitely the diamond player. Like you can definitely tell the difference between all the players. Ooh, unfortunate. Reinhardt, he just did like a bunch of damage too, and he held. Like, of course, he's gonna walk back and hold shield as long as he possibly can. See how much shield he has. He has a lot of shield as well. Probably would have been a good idea to know that he's not gonna put down that shield because he just got low health. So you got to pay attention to that. I do like the idea though that you thought like he was gonna maybe take down his shield right there, so you'd be able to outplay him that way. But once again, he just got over here and he just threw up his shield. And the mental game isn't that high yet. You got to have like a very high mental game when you're going against another Rein. So I do like the fact that you did ult that. If your purpose for ulting that was thinking that he was going to take down his shield, then I kind of understand. But you also got to look at like the logical side of it though. This guy was low health, so 9 out of 10 times he's probably not going to take down that shield until he's ready to fight again. So, like, for example, right here, you can wait right here, and then I'd wait for the second he takes down his shield, I would ult. You see right there. That would have been a perfect time to ult. I mean, you would have gotten the Curie and the Reinhardt with it, but if we're talking about, like, perfect times to ult and everything like that, you can see the second, let's go back and let's just look at that again. So let's see where you ulted compared to probably where I would have ulted. So you see, he dropped all the way back and he got low health. Now, to be entirely honest, you probably shouldn't have even backed up there. You probably should have just kept walking forward on him a little bit more. Maybe gotten like a few more strikes in, seeing if you could kill him, and then walking back out. Because Curie did use cleanse, so he is a pretty dangerously killable target. But ulting right here, though, although you did get the Ashe, she's all the way in the back line, and he just got out of a fight being low health. So it probably wasn't the best idea to ult him right there. But once again, if I was playing right here and I had my ult still, and I hadn't used it, I would have waited the second he put down that shield. That would have, my Earth Shatter probably would have instantly dropped. If I was looking for an ult. I don't know though. The carry was kind of far back, so I don't know if I would have ulted that unless I was trying to just solo out the Reinhardt. Unfortunate. Reaper clutches. Huge. As well as, once again, you got to be outplaying the enemy Reinhardt. So far, it's either been a fair match or it's been kind of him getting a little bit of an advantage on you. You gotta outplay the enemy Rein. This is the match that all Reinhardts wish they had right here. Oh, he swapped to Orisa. It's gonna have a massive advantage on you. Just pay attention to cooldowns on the Orisa. If it's a good Orisa, don't use an extreme amount of cooldowns. But if it's a bad Orisa, probably will use an extreme amount of cooldowns. So as well as kind of right here, you kind of sat back and held shield. Well, you saw like your Mercy kind of overextended. Your Reaper could have easily gotten out, so I don't know why your Mercy overextended to go res that. Or to go heal that. I don't know if I just went back or forward. Oh, what's going on? Oh no. Okay. Perhaps speed up. Sorry, my LT is broken, so when I press it once, it presses like 80 times. We'll just speed up right here. Okay. Yeah, right here. Reaper was getting out. Mercy overextends. To be entirely honest, what I probably would have tried to do right here is, just because of how like dangerous of a spot your Mercy's in, I probably would have pinned forward and maybe tried to shield her off for a second. You kind of sat back, and when you're sitting back like that, especially when you have two players who were overextending, one's entirely reasonable to overextend, the other entirely unreasonable to overextend. You just gotta pay attention to that. Because now, unfortunately, you haven't really done a whole lot in this situation. And even on top of that, as soon as you won that fight, probably could have walked over here and taken that high ground and like kind of just like sat up on this high ground for a bit, trying to figure out what exactly you want to drop on maybe, or if you just want to hold up on that high ground. I would have pinged and told my team to try to take the high ground. And maybe, just maybe it would work. Now, unfortunately right here though, you either have like one of two decisions. You can either try to get a pick and die fast, which is exactly what you could do, or you could go for a massive stall. Now, going for a massive stall like this mainly just relies on the rank that you're in. So basically, for example, just holding back here and kind of holding your shield a little bit, waiting until they get a little bit more closer so you can hold your shield, so you can stall on point for hopefully the rest of your team to get a retouch and make a play. Because that was probably your best bet right there, just because of the situation that you're in. All right. Yeah, best bet, just die. Reset and die. Nothing you can really do there.
How are you?
I will give you credit for looking at your team, figuring out what your team's doing, making sure that you're able to kind of push up and play aggressive right there. Unfortunate.
The battle ignites me. Get in there, boss. Cool. It's go time.
See if maybe you can get one more retouch. They actually forgot to touch for a second, see. You guys might be able to make a play here. But you got to go fast. Oh, no. Darn. That could have been winnable, too. That could have been massively winnable. One swing right there would have killed 3 players. Oof. That's kind of on your mercy, though. Unfortunate. Not really a whole lot. I mean, you tried your best right there. Unfortunate. One swing, though. One swing could have killed 3 players. Yeah, you can even hear the double kill that went off. Sorry if you can hear the dogs in the background. All right, speed up.
Kids also disappoint.
We got the Doom pick. I'll try my best coaching the Doom, but I'm not a crazy crackhead Doom player. Although I have played him in master lobbies before. Nice. Unfortunate miss. But you're fully charged. Okay. So what probably would have been best right here is if you would have sat right here, maybe thrown yourself up in the air a little bit right over here, and then punched her straight into this wall right here to finish her off right over there. Good idea. Unfortunately, though, you need to act a lot faster with Doom on getting picks. Like, you need to make plays massively. Like right here, the second you hear that res, you got to instantly take out. Ooh, you didn't have your punch, actually. You know, I'm not going to blame you for that, for not having your punch there. That's just unfortunate. Nice play, though. Nice plays. Nice. Perfect. I was just going to say, wait until she javelin spins and then punch her. Because she just used her fortify super early right there. Awesome. Perfect. That's exactly what you should have done. Just pay attention to the Orisa cooldowns. Pay attention to the enemy team right here. Like right here, for example, you can play massively aggressive. Because they don't have an Orisa. So you can play pretty aggressive here. You can do it. Nice. Perfect. Awesome. You're making plays. Thankfully, you don't really have a whole lot that can stun you on the enemy team, so you're going to be having a lot of a field day. But if you are going to play Doom and you do have, like, for example, somebody who's going to, like, cancel out any of your abilities or anything like that, any CC at all, you got to pay attention to that, and you got to kind of, like, try to figure out your best way to work around it. So, for example, the Junkrat Trap, just try to figure out where Junkrat Trap is, play around it. Which is going to be super easy to do, but when it comes to, like, more difficult CC, you got to pay attention to, like, exactly everything that, you got to figure out, like, what they're going to be doing with it, and you got to figure out, like, how you're going to play around it. Once again, remember, this player right here has been struggling the entire game, so you get free. She's gonna be free the entire game. So if you die for every game, all they're gonna have is a mercy. It's all right though. Just reset. Yep. This is on our fortify. Honestly, that might have been a pretty good time to ult that. I don't know. I don't know exactly yet. Nice ult. The second you saw that Mercy was low, though, that probably would have been a good time to ult that. Unfortunate. So once again, you got to pay attention to the Junkrat Trap when you're playing Doom.
I've come too far to stop now.
Hey there.
Let's give him the one for.
As well as I do know that you mentioned during the replay code that like your accuracy wasn't the best because you just started playing first-person shooters again. Which is understandable, but you definitely need, if you're going to be playing Doom, you definitely need to be hitting a lot more shots and connecting a lot more shots. Like, for example, right there, that would have been a really good opportunity to kill that Mercy. but unfortunately you missed. So not really a whole lot you can do. You have a charged up fist right here. So let's figure out exactly what you can do with this. So, I mean, you have the Ash right here. She's probably going to boop you back if you drop down. But if you can manage to figure out how to get a hit off on this Curie right here, you can hit her straight into these hay bales, hit her straight against this wall, maybe even hit her against that wall right over there. You know there's no Junkrat trap that's going to annoy you, like in the slightest. So you could charge up your fist, and the second you drop, you get a punch on her. She's a free kill. And then you can kind of maybe just rotate back for a second right over here, maybe see if you can get some shots off, because you can't really block the second you get that kill, because Orissa's probably going to turn around, javelin you, and it'll cancel your block. And when it cancels your block, that's just gonna suck. I like the idea right there. Once again, you got to go for the supports a lot. You know, he just threw that Junkrat trap right there, so you saw that. So you got free reign. I wouldn't even engage. Yeah, I wouldn't even engage on the Junkrat because he's gonna be a little bit more difficult to kill. Oof. Unfortunate again. A little bit of an accuracy issue right there. Yeah, you got to figure out the openings. And you had a perfect opening, but you're kind of a little bit too focused on that Junkrat right there, when you could have easily gotten like a free pick on, let's say, the Curie right there. Because remember, once again, that Curie is not the greatest player. So you can gain, like, you can just take advantage of that. Good punch. Good slam. You saw that Mercy go into that room. Nice. Perfect. Oh, unfortunate though. Unfortunately, you weren't able to get that kill, but you saw that Mercy go into the room. I like the awareness on that. That's a good idea. Punch the Mercy into the enemy team. Or into your ally team. Good. Nice. Perfect. You play like that every game, then you're set. You notice the mistake on the Mercy right there, and everything just went downhill. Ever since you found out that mistake. Nice. Perfect. You also have your ult here, so you do have the choice if you want to go in and play very aggressive. You could even probably kill the Orisa right there as well. Ooh, unfortunate. Nice. Make sure you look directly at her when she's javelin spinning you, because I do believe you get ult charge off from that if you're looking directly at her. Probably could have gotten your ult charge off from that. And then, I mean, you already capped points, so that's all right.
We're outnumbered. How invigorating.
You have the right idea. I'll give you credit for it. I know walking back into the game, you said that you're going to be a bit rusty on your aim, so I'm not going to judge it too much. But you do definitely got to hit a lot more of your shots. You do have your moments where you're popping off. It's just a little inconsistent. Great awareness once again. Perfect. That's exactly what you need to do. You need to keep soloing out those free picks. You just need to keep doing that on repeat. Nice. Perfect peel. Awesome. Perfect. Once again, exactly what you should be doing. Going for the supports. Beautiful. It's kind of hard to coach Doom on this play style right here, or just on what the enemy team's running, but now it's going to be a little bit more easier to coach Doom, and why you're probably going to start struggling a little bit more on this. This is what I'm going to assume, at least.
I'm here.
Just because they have Junkrat Trap, now they have Sleep and Hook, and they're probably all going to be... They all want that because you're kind of popping off, and you're making them frustrated. Nice punch. All right, never mind. They want the counter pick, but ignored you. Nice cap.
Round 2. Ready for battle.
All right.
Ready for battle.
Got the Doom pick again.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Powered up.
Nice. Nice job noticing the free pick. Nice punch again. Then you're going for the support. Exactly everything that you should be doing.
I've got meds.
30 seconds remaining.
I hope I never angered you.
It is kind of hard to coach this as well, just because of how like wide the match rating is. So, for example, it's what, Diamond 4 to Silver 1. So a lot of these players in this lobby aren't going to be like the most intelligent. But when it comes to playing against higher ranked players, as well as you can easily dive, you shouldn't rotate out. Like you could easily dive. Both these players right here are fairly low. But what was I saying? Now, unfortunately, you got to kind of get out because you can't really close the gap too much.
10 seconds remaining.
Oh yeah, because it's kind of hard to tell or it's kind of hard to like figure out what you're going to be doing, because in a normal diamond lobby, they're going to know exactly how to counter you, and they're going to start like targeting you a lot more. But in this lobby, there's a lot of players who are kind of just like kind of blank and don't really use their cooldowns well. So as a Doomfist, you're definitely going to have to pay attention to cooldowns like Kiri, Suzu, honestly, Orisa Fortify, as well as like the Junkrat Trap. You're going to have to pay attention to that tremendously. But you now, I believe, have a charged up fist. Ooh, you don't want to use that. 100% you want to save that. Honestly, you could have even rotated right around here, looked for anybody that you could have attacked, maybe even dropped that Kiri right there early. But you did not want to punch right there because you had a charged up fist, and you don't want to use that charged up fist like that. You also saw Kiri walked right up here. Once again, you got to take a massive advantage of this Kiri, because this Kiri is overextending, playing wide in the open, playing very badly. Thankfully, your Kiri ended up making a play. Nice awareness. Unfortunately, you kind of got stuck right here. But nice awareness. I mean, the Kiri was dead, so you dove the Ana. And guess what happened? The Ana wasn't the Ana wasn't able to focus on the Orisa so much. So the rest of your team just had a field day on the Orisa because the enemy team ain't getting heals, because you're focusing on the Ana.
Face my burning fist.
It's also been a minute since I've coached, so like
Just keep that coming.
kind of struggling to talk, as well as it's been a minute since I played Overwatch. Played a little bit of the stadium mode, and that's it. Nice. Nice cancel.
Meteor strike.
Beautiful.
Shoot and brought down.
Was the ult really necessary though? Probably not. Probably shouldn't have used ult there, but that's all right. Just save your charged up fist so you can find any little bit of damage that you can, or you can find any like free pick. They're going D.Va now. So a good D.Va is probably gonna figure out what you're gonna do and then DM any of your shots that you do. So all you can really do is punch. That's probably what a good D.Va is gonna do. This D.Va is probably just gonna dive you constantly. Kiri walks up TP's high ground. Once again, the Kiri is the worst player in this lobby right now. Oh, what just happened? Oof. Unfortunate. That's alright though.
Score. Ready.
Alright, and this is when the Ramatra comes out.
Hey,
Ready for battle.
hi.
5,
Uplifted.
4,
We stand
3,
united.
2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Put them in the
Defend objective A.
勇往直前 Continuing damage increase.
Nice use of that early.
I will give you shelter. Devour them. I will tear victory from your grasp.
Nice job holding block. Very much Ramatra gameplay. Unfortunate. Probably should have held block more right here. Something funny is in Diamond, when I was playing an alt account, I ended up going all the way into Masters by playing Ramatra. In the second I go into my Nemesis form, or my my bigger form, whatever you call it, all I would do is block the entire match. All I would do is sit there and block all the damage, and then I just like, I don't know, like I'd say I did that like maybe out of like 8 matches and won like 7 of them. Now I'm not saying now I'm not saying do that. I'm not saying do that at all, but you got to take advantage of the block a lot. That's at least what I was doing, and I managed to get like a massive amount of success with it. Now, I don't promote only doing that 24/7, but I mean, it is possible to win some games. It's just a very turn brain off mode of Overwatch. For example, right there, I would have probably thrown my Nemesis form. Actually, okay, never mind. I was gonna say something, but that probably wasn't really the best advice. Oh, I went back. So what you can do is you can look for kind of like or you can look for your circle. Shoot, I don't know why I can't remember what it's called. But you can look for it, throw it behind the enemy team. For example, like if you want to maybe try to see if you can get a pick on the Orisa. If the Orisa uses all of her cooldowns, it gets half health. You can throw it behind her, and then you can kind of like all just walk up on her and play really aggressive on her and get free kills. But if you use it like this, she's just going to walk out of it really easily. But if you kind of throw it like directly behind her, for example, if she's trying to back out through this chokehold right here and you throw it like right here, then they're going to struggle a little bit. Yep, just reset. To be entirely honest, that kind of only benefits you because they just used 3 alts for the price of
Our future will be forged in
2,
conflict.
which isn't bad. You guys are now up in alt, so
Cry some more.
10 seconds.
the only thing that you really have to worry about is just the Ashe ult. The shop canceling out that charge punch right there. Nice. Perfect. Big play. Yeah, I knew as soon as they used a bunch of those ults right there, it's probably free for you guys. Yeah. Is Bob gonna touch? Okay. So overall, what all do you need to work on for Doom? Just, I mean, you played Doom pretty well. It was just taking advantage of certain situations that could make massive plays and everything like that. Being able to connect more of your shots, you probably would be a menace. As well as just like in higher ranked gameplays, it's going to be a lot more difficult to find those openings than you were finding in this game. So you're going to have to like kind of play a little bit more Doom in a like diamond to diamond lobby and everything like that. And the more you play in those lobbies, the more you're going to start understanding like, oh, hey, they're probably going to TP out right here. So maybe I could force it out, figure out where they TP to the Kiri, and then just go rush them over there. Make sure they use Suzu as well, because if they use both of those cooldowns, then they're going to be useless for a second, and then you're going to be able to engage on them like really aggressively, and then you should be able to get those picks. So being able to get those picks like that is going to be massive. I know, like in the beginning, you kind of like had a really rough start with Doom, but after that, you started just absolutely smoking them. But you also got to pay attention to like cooldowns and everything like that. For example, Orisa coming at you with javelin spin, you can give her like a quick punch that puts her on a pretty long cooldown compared to your like what 4-second reset. So just pay attention to that, as well as like the Bastion, for example. When he goes into his turret form, at the end of his turret form, you could rush him, block, and as soon as he goes out of his turret form, then you punch him, get the free kill on him, finish him off. The supports, you're actually doing very well on adding a lot of pressure to the supports. It was making the enemy team struggle to get heals tremendously right there. So that was really good as well. For Reinhardt, you just gotta, it's all like, it's a massive mental game with Reinhardt, especially when you're going against an enemy Reinhardt as well. Like, you just need to outplay the enemy Reinhardt. And unfortunately, when you guys are both playing Reinhardt, he kind of had the upper hand on you the whole time. So you do got to pay attention to that. But I mean, yeah, if you can just connect more of your shots, play a little bit more, smart on, like, for example, like what cooldowns the enemy's going to use. I know this video didn't really give the best example of like who's going to use what cooldowns or who has what cooldowns and everything like that. But the higher the rank, the better it's going to be. Like, the more you're going to start seeing players playing around you, and you have to figure out how you can counter them playing around you and everything like that. But yeah, I hope this video helped you out, and I'll see you later.